So a lot of people are debating whether or not Trump should entertain these debates next week on Wednesday. And apparently Trump has decided to sit out of the first Republican debate, which in my opinion makes a lot of sense because Trump is up 40, 50, and sometimes even 60 points according to a lot of polls. So why risk hurting his polling number? There's no point. This is called risk management. There's literally no upside for Trump being part of this debate, especially when clowns like Chris Christie are just going to be very obnoxious.
There's no other conclusion to come to that he's both afraid of me and he's afraid of defending his record. And if I had his record, I'd be nervous about showing up too. And let's face it, guys, by Wednesday, he's going to be out on bail in 4 different jurisdictions. That really, when are we going to stop thinking that's normal? When are we going to allow our country to understand again that nominating someone who's out on bail in 4 jurisdictions is not a winning formula?
All right, guys, so the first GOP debate is coming up in a couple of days, and I do plan on covering it live, okay? I told you guys that I would try to do more live streams on this channel, specifically when there are events, like, for example, the debates that I think deserve live coverage, okay? So my plan is to cover the GOP debate. Now, here's the thing. The star of that night, right, probably won't show up to the debate, and that is former President Donald Trump, and that is for a couple of reasons. One, because he's absolutely crushing and dominating the polls, as indictment after indictment seems to be giving the man a poll boost, right? It's making him stronger. Even CNN is acknowledging that Trump has gotten so much of a boost from these indictments that you shouldn't count him out in regards to his ability to win the general election, as the polls there are basically tied. And when it comes to the GOP primary, again, the polls are so strong for Trump that a lot of people are basically declaring the primary over.
Trump's lead is even larger. So these are 3 polls that were out over the last week. Look at these leads for Donald Trump. He's at 62% the CBS News YouGov poll. 57% in Quinnipiac University, 53% in the Fox News poll. Look at where DeSantis is in all these polls. Look how far back he is. He doesn't crack 20% in any of them. So in Iowa, you have that 20-plus point lead for Donald Trump. That's actually smaller than the lead we see nationally, where we see these leads of 35, 40, near 50 points in this particular case. Of course, the primary is one thing. If Trump wins the primary, can he go on and win the general election? And we've had 3 polls that have come out over the last week here. And I want you to take a look at how close this race is at this particular point. Granted, the general election is over a year away. The largest lead for Joe Biden is just 3 points within the margin of error. No clear leader. Look at these. 1 point, 1 point. If you go back at where we were at this point 4 years ago, Joe Biden's lead was high single digits to low double digits. This is significantly closer than where we were 4 years ago. So this idea that Donald Trump can't win the general election, I want you to lose that idea. This race is very, very close, and Donald Trump is polling better right now than basically at any point during the entire 2020 cycle.
After 4 indictments.
After 4 indictments. It just doesn't really seem to matter.
That's fascinating.
Harry Enton, thank you.
Thank you.
I will never get over the mainstream liberal media getting so shocked, right, that these obviously politically motivated indictments are not hurting Trump. They're actually making him stronger. I love it. It's glorious. It really is. Okay. So with that being said, there's a second reason why Trump allegedly is not showing up to the debate. I'm actually hoping that he does show up in the 11th hour or whatever. But the second reason is that he's trying to stick it to Fox News, okay? And that's why, apparently, allegedly, he plans on skipping the debate and sitting down with Tucker Carlson for an interview. And this is going to hurt Fox News because it's going to hurt their ratings, okay? We know that Trump is basically the star of the show, right? Trump brings the ratings as CNN, okay? Their ratings haven't been respectable or notable ever since Trump gave a public spanking to Don Lemon's replacement, Caitlin Collins, live on stage at the CNN town hall that the mainstream liberal media lost their minds over because CNN decided to platform somebody that disagrees with them politically.
I think is why you held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's
you
the
mind?
answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple to, you're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
CNN knows that Trump brings the ratings, right? And that's why CNN is the appropriate network to discuss why Trump sticking it to Fox News is kind of a big deal, and how allegedly behind closed doors, Fox News is begging Trump to show up to the debate. Take a look.
In 2 days, Republican presidential hopefuls are set to take the stage in the first primary debate. This one's in Milwaukee. But the frontrunner, former President Trump, he will not be there. Trump made the announcement on social media yesterday afternoon, writing, "The public knows who I am and what successful a presidency I had. I will therefore not be doing the debates," plural. Sources tell CNN the former president plans to sit down for an interview with former Fox host Tucker Carlson instead. And the interview is set to air on X, formerly known as Twitter, around the same time as the debate. CNN senior media correspondent Oliver Darcy is here. So the debate is Wednesday. Then you've got the debate. You've got the former president. If he's trying to upstage them, putting a video on X, does that do it?
That's probably not going to do much, but not going to the debate, that is going to hurt Fox News and the ratings. I mean, if you look at the 2015 primaries, the first debate that Fox News hosted with Donald Trump taking on the rest of the GOP field, that averaged about 24 million viewers. People wanted to see Trump in that environment. And I think him not going to this debate, it's really going to put a dent in Fox News's ratings, which is why the executives were basically pleading with him. You know, they went to his Bedminster club and asked him to participate in this debate. We know that on air, the hosts have been encouraging him to participate. It would be very beneficial for their ratings. Yeah. Of course, he actually is feuding with Rupert Murdoch, so I think he's very happy to take a sledgehammer to this.
Yeah, so I agree. Okay, rare moment of agreement where I think that CNN is right. I think that Trump and Tucker have bones to pick with Fox News, and this is the best way possible for both of them to get back at Fox News by essentially tanking the ratings of the first debate, because essentially there's going to be a whole lot less people watching the debate because Trump is not going to show up because he's not going to be there, allegedly, okay? So yeah, if this is Trump's get back at Fox News, if this is Tucker Carlson's get back at Fox News, it really is the perfect thing for them to do. Because, you know, a lot of people got problems with Fox News. They got problems with how Fox News is covering Trump. They got problems with how Fox News got rid of Tucker Carlson. Again, there is some issues that people are having with Fox News and their coverage. And, yeah, I think it's no doubt that people or some people will boycott the debate. They'll just choose not to watch it because Trump's not on stage. Me personally, you know, I feel like I'm most disappointed because we're not going to get moments like this, classic moments like this from Trump in regards to him just absolutely destroying GOP candidates on stage the way that he did people like, for example, Jeb Bush.
This is a tough business to run for president.
I know you're a tough guy, Jeb.
And we need to have a leader that is
real
principled.
tough.
You're never going to be president of the United States by insulting your way to the presidency.
Let's see. I'm at 42 and you're at 3. So
Doesn't matter.
Far I'm doing better.
Doesn't matter.
So far I'm doing better. You know, you started off over here, Jeb. You're moving over further and further. Pretty soon you're going to be off the end.
This doesn't do a thing to solve the problem.
One at a time.
It sounds more.
Hugh, go ahead.
Yeah, again, I think some of the GOP candidates should be relieved that Trump's not showing up because this man has ended political dynasties, right? He ended 2 of them, actually, in 2015, 2016. He ended the Bush dynasty, and he ended the Clinton dynasty, okay? I'm just saying. And I would love nothing more than to see Trump end somebody like Chris Christie on stage. I really want to see Trump destroy Chris Christie, okay? Because Chris Christie has been talking big junk about Trump, right? So again, I'm a little disappointed that, you know, allegedly Trump's not going to be on stage because I love seeing Trump at the debates, especially when he's debating people in the GOP. That is, to me, that is like peak entertainment. But anyways, I'm going to put my political analyst, my political strategist hat on here and tell you guys the pros and cons of Trump showing up to debate versus not showing up to debate, because I think from a political strategy perspective, it's a little bit of a different conversation, okay? Now, I'm going to start off with the pros, right? The pros of Trump not showing up to the debate is, well, first and foremost, he gets to stick it to Fox News. He gets to get his revenge against Fox News. And also on top of that, Trump is leading so much in the primary. I think that people can make an argument that at this point, maybe, just maybe, he doesn't need to show up to the debate, considering how undoubtedly the debate is going to be about him and his indictments in January 6th. And it's just going to be attacking Trump, okay? There are people on stage, again, like Chris Christie, that's going to make the whole debate about attacking Trump, okay? Now, it is Fox News, so, you know, I guess you could argue that maybe it's neutral. I don't think that they would come out and be overtly against Trump. They're definitely not going to be pro-Trump. I think that it would be kind of neutral, but at the same time, they're going to ask a bunch of questions about January 6th. It's going to be about the indictments. They're going to ask candidates how, you know, Trump, you know, did things wrong and what they would do differently than Trump. It's going to be all about Trump, okay? And essentially him being on the debate stage is just a chance for all these people to team up and to attack him because, again, he's the leader. And that's something that I'm not sure if Trump feels like at this point, considering how he's essentially blowing out everybody in the polls. Maybe he feels like he doesn't need to go through that, okay? Because, again, understand, debates are not about actual real policy or any type of white paper analysis or anything like that. It's really entertainment, okay? It's about who can get in the most zingers, who can get in the most punchlines, things like that. That's what debates are about. Maybe Trump feels like, you know what, in that type of environment, considering how he is facing these indictments, maybe, just maybe, it might just be best not to get on stage and to risk the media and all the candidates on stage basically just taking turns, taking shots at him, just attacking him the whole night, because that is what the debate is going to be about. If Trump is on stage, the whole debate is going to be a debate on Trump, okay? And again, when you're up 30, 40, 50 points in the polls, the political calculation here is why go through that when you don't have to. You don't have to. The people have essentially said, look, this is who we want to be the candidate. Now, that's the pro, right? That's what I think that his political strategists are thinking. Now, I'm going to give you guys the cons, okay? The other side of the coin, where I think that even though Trump is up in the polls, no vote has been cast. And he probably should not make the mistake. The Trump campaign should not make the mistake of thinking that the primary is over, because it's not. Nobody has actually voted yet. And you still have to earn people's votes. So him not showing up on stage is basically him missing an opportunity to continue to speak to the American people and to continue to talk about the successes of his administration and where he wants to take the country in the future, which, again, admittedly would be a hard thing to do considering how that's not what they're going to talk about, okay? They're not going to talk about how bad the Biden administration is. They're not going to talk about how great things were under Trump or Trump's policy or America First or anything like that. They're not going to talk about that. If Trump's on stage, again, they're going to make it all about attacking Trump. But admittedly, Trump can actually just negate that by essentially just deflecting and saying, look, all these indictments are a political witch hunt. They're coming after me because they know how great the country was when I was in office. They understand how great the American people were doing when I was in office. We had one of the strongest economies ever. Our border was much more secure. We were respected on the world stage. Crime was under control. They don't want that from the American people. That's why they're trying to keep me out of office, okay? Because they understand that I am the people's president, right? And he could easily just deflect and turn any question about his indictments back into some type of speech about policy and where he wants to take the country. And that's personally, if I was Trump's advisor, that's what I'll be telling him to do. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's really not about winning over people who are already supporters of the president, the former president. It's about winning over independents. You're going to have people that are independents that are going to be watching this. And although, you know, the Trump campaign may think that the primary is in the bag, the general election is not, okay? If you're truly in general election mode, which is what this move suggests, okay, if Trump really is going to skip all the debates, that he's in general election mode, if you're actually in general election mode, then you should show up to the debates, because the debates give you an opportunity to talk to independents, people who are undecided. And those are the people that's actually going to decide the general election. And Trump, if he really feels that way, should probably start to tailor his message more towards independents and reminding them that, hey, this is what you're getting under Biden. Okay, high gas prices, inflation, out of control interest / mortgage rates. Food is unaffordable. Housing's unaffordable. Crime's out of control. The border's out of control. We're sending all this money to Ukraine. We can't even take care of our own American people when there's a disaster. Biden is holding up money for Hawaii through FEMA because he wants to send money to Ukraine first. This is America last. And that is what he really should be getting on stage and doing. He should be getting on stage and talking to the independents because, again, even if they turn the whole debate into an attack session against Trump, that ain't hurting the guy, right? I've said this 1,000 times. With Trump's base, attacks don't work, right? It doesn't matter what they go on stage and say about the guy. It's not hurting him in the polls. So, honestly, I think Trump is kind of giving up his strongest attribute, which is the fact that he is Teflon, that attacks don't work against him. They actually hurt his opponent. I think he's giving that up by not showing up. Okay, I think that any GOP candidate that risks attacking Trump on stage basically is risking ruining their own candidacy. Okay, look at Ron DeSantis, who, instead of running the Vivek Ramaswamy campaign, which he should have, okay, he should have ran his campaign like Vivek Ramaswamy's running his. He decided to try to attack Trump, and his poll numbers have declined ever since he started to do that. So any GOP candidate that's smart probably wouldn't do that. But then again, some of these guys are being advised by idiots, okay? It really blows my mind that millions of dollars are being paid to strategists to tell these guys how to lose, right? I'm just saying. But the other downside to this is the fact that with Trump not being on stage, that gives other candidates their moment to shine, okay? Even though there'll probably be less people watching the debate because Trump's not on stage, there's still going to be quite a few people watching debates. There's still going to be millions of people watching the debates, okay? And again, that gives other candidates a chance to differentiate themselves, to maybe gain some momentum. Now, we don't necessarily know how much the debates will have an effect, okay? But if another candidate is able to gain some momentum from the debates and the polls start to tighten up, then at that point, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Trump will decide to debate. Because, again, he's alluding to this idea that he's going to skip all the debates, right? And I'm just concerned that, the Trump campaign may be getting ahead of themselves and thinking that it's over when, again, there's no vote that has been cast, okay? Again, these polls are polls, but in the past, we've been skeptical of these polls, and I think it's wise to remain skeptical and not just assume that, hey, just because the polls say that you're up big, that means that you're automatically going to win. I think that there's a lot of time to go between now and when the first votes are cast, and you really shouldn't get ahead of yourself, okay? On top of that, again, Trump has to remember that his strongest attribute is his ability to absorb attacks and hurt his opponent, right? His opponent actually gets hurt from attacking Trump. But also his second strongest attribute is attention. The more attention that Trump gets, the better. The more attention on him, it takes attention off of everybody else. So again, with Trump not being on that stage, he's allowing attention to go to other candidates. And that does not work out well for Trump, right? Trump was polling at his worst when he was being ignored, okay? The way to beat Trump is to ignore Trump. And that's something that the mainstream liberal media hasn't figured out. These GOP candidates, except Vivek Ramaswamy, hasn't figured out. They haven't really figured it out, okay? The more attention you give Trump, the more you attack him, that helps him out. The more you ignore him, you don't talk about him, that actually hurts him, okay? So I'm just saying, I understand the Trump campaign's reason for why Trump is not showing up. I get it. I understand it. I'm just a little concerned that they may be getting ahead of themselves and thinking that the primary is over and is not. I think at some point, Trump definitely needs to show up to the debates. And, I don't think it's wise to skip all of them. However, I think that he'll probably be fine skipping this one, right? Because, again, he is sticking it to Fox News. And, at the end of the day, it's pretty early on. He's up big in the polls. I can understand, considering his situation, why he feels like he probably shouldn't show up, okay? Which, I don't really blame him. I just don't want them to get ahead of themselves. I want them to understand that it's not over, right? Don't put all of your faith in these polls that we know sometimes, or a lot of times, can be inaccurate. But there's no doubt, I mean, he's up big time, right? That he's definitely the leader. Again, no votes have been cast yet, so we don't know that for certain. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.